Is that a bang as in we're ready to roll bang?
No, that's a bang as in we are live bang.
Bang. Welcome back, folks. CJ, Monty, and I welcome you to the Daily Crypto Byte. I'm down here at the Omni Champions Gate with Tom Lee from Fundstrat and Larry Kudlow. And the three of us are going to keynote this afternoon. And I'm going to tell people why Bitcoin will outperform stocks for the remainder of this year and into next year. So I'm sure some in that audience will be surprised, but I think I've got some pretty good data to back it up.
Yeah, John, and it's funny, coming from you, I'm sure that would mean a lot, but crypto people, they've made those predictions before, but you're a guy that comes from traditional equities background. So I'm glad that you'll be preaching that message because I'm sure people will be a lot more receptive when it's coming from you.
Hopefully, Monty. And if they don't, well, like we've said before, you can't make them drink. You can just tell them, hey, this is pretty interesting over here, and here's why. One of the things that I thought was really interesting, guys, was I'll be putting up there on stage was a search, a simple Google search for NASDAQ. I searched for Apple separately. I've searched for Google. I searched for Amazon. I searched for NASDAQ, NASDAQ, as well as the stock symbol for the NASDAQ and DAQ. And I got on the high side 65 million results in about half a second, right? You know how that little thing appears that lets you know how many results and how long it took? So 65 million results. Now, then I did cryptocurrency. And how many do you think I got there, guys?
Like 10 times that?
I just typed in crypto. No, not 10 times, but 104 million.
Wow.
So if you've got an asset, not just a term, but an asset that is being searched far more than the entire NASDAQ, it should give people an idea that maybe there's, obviously, we know that there are not nearly the number of crypto accounts that there are stock accounts and options accounts in the United States. But if people are searching that feverishly for those terms, I think that's at least one of the signs that we might see crypto outperforming some of these traditional assets because people are interested and it gets easier all the time to trade it. I remember when I first started how difficult it was, and now it's so easy with Voyager, the sponsor of this show, where they'll give you $25 in Bitcoin just for typing Rebel25 into the promo code when you open an account. It is so darn easy, and commission-free trading too, guys, over at Voyager.
Yep, Voyager is great. But, CJ, when we were talking before the show today, this morning felt pretty different in terms of, sentiment going into the market. And I think a lot of that had to do with the price action we saw yesterday in Bitcoin. We saw a nice little uptick in volume yesterday. We saw some positive price action. Are you feeling a little bit better about the market today? Or you still think we're in for, maybe a bit more bearish price action going forward?
It looks like we're going to be pretty bullish, at least for the rest of the day, depending on how price action shakes out. But it's like kind of looking back at the past few weeks, how much bad news can they really throw at it? Like we've just seen an overwhelming amount of that news cycle. I think that we're actually starting to see a nice response to that El Salvador news that kind of has at least changed the narrative, or at least made people forget about kind of Elon Musk and Tesla and that sort. In terms of price action and how things have behaving in the overall market collectively, I think it's pretty interesting that Bitcoin is actually increasing along with its dominance. So the fact that the alts are kind of stagnating behind Bitcoin is pretty good to see, because when we have these, cyclical flows of capital throughout the space, typically after a rough correction, people only want to go into Bitcoin, which is the I think you could call it the most risk-off cryptocurrency. I think that's pretty fair to say. So capital flows into Bitcoin. Once we see a little bit more profits or price increases from Bitcoin, then naturally Ethereum and more of the risk on ignition assets start to kind of rally as well. So the fact that those have kind of been laggers thus far leads me to believe that I think it might not be a bad time to accumulate some alts. And I'm sure we'll get more into that with the Doge of the day. But that was just an interesting little comparison and relationship that I had noticed going on this morning.
I saw a CNBC article today, guys, by one of the wealth reporters over there, Robert Frank. And Robert's usually writing about yachts or the Pebble Beach auto auction for, multi-million-dollar car collections and things like that. But today, Robert was writing about millennial millionaires have a large share of their wealth in crypto. And to give you guys an idea, nearly half of millennial millionaires have at least 25% of their wealth in cryptocurrencies. And I would venture a guess, guys, that most of those millennial millionaires made their millions from crypto. And this is obviously a generational divide that is going on between older folks that are, going to be at this conference for the most part down here at Omni Champions Gate in Orlando, and a lot of the folks like you two, the millennials that are a little more flexible and willing to look at things like the altcoins, not just Bitcoin, but altcoins. In fact, I would bet you that an awful lot of those folks made some of those fortunes on altcoins rather than just the traditional, king of cryptos, Bitcoin.
Yeah, John, that's almost a guarantee there. And the funny thing is, we're talking about how Bitcoin's kind of leading ahead of alts. To me, it feels like we're entering another part of the market cycle where a lot more millionaires are going to be made trading these altcoins, because I really do think that the altcoin market is going to start to rally in the next couple of weeks. So now is an ideal time to accumulate. So with that, would you guys like to jump into our doges of the day today?
Sure.
All right, let's get after it. CJ, I know you had a pretty interesting one that I almost went with, but I saw you were taking it, so I let you have it. You want to talk about your doge of the day today?
You had an original one, but this was
True,
probably
true.
your number two. Yeah. Algo, ALGO, Algo rant. I really like the technical setup, specifically because we got a nice spot or a nice spike in volume yesterday. Now, the sellers did take some profit once we went above that kind of top Bollinger Band and kind of came down ever since then. But this is a trend that has consistently made higher lows over the course of the past few weeks. We have the CCI continuing to do the same and make higher lows. So a nice confluence between bullish momentum there. We've held support at the 200 moving average, which is very solid. I think it's very important that a lot of various alts kind of can hold that level. We talked a lot about that in the webinar yesterday that we did exclusively for our members. And so I think, I really want to see that top outer band start to curl up, and I want to see price, have a firm hold of about $1.03 or $1.04. I think if the bulls have that amount of conviction, then we're probably going to see a bullish continuation up to potentially, $1.25 or, a further trend. I'm not going to rule out the possibility of a potential leg down in Bitcoin. I know that's possible. I think it is still a little bit too early to call, a 100% bottom. Nonetheless, I do think this is a good time collectively to start accumulating alts, and I've been doing that as well.
I'd love it if you guys, just for 30 seconds each, could also say something about what you do when you do buy these, because I'll say it up front. What I do when I buy these doges of the day and so forth, I'm looking for, a 10%, 15% move. I'm not just accumulating these, and I want you guys watching to know that I'm trading these. So especially on a platform. I have to, some of these that I bring up, I have to trade through a VPN. But all the stuff that's on Voyager that I trade, which I love, I'm in there flipping in and trying to, make 10 or 15% on that move. And if I'm losing 2 or 3%, I'm out. So I'm just letting you guys know that even though I probably have 12 altcoins and Bitcoin in my wallets right now, I don't just buy them with the intention of holding them, except for, as I've said many times, I have one wallet that is a hardware wallet off the net, and the other that's online, with Voyager or through one of these VPNs to Binance or wherever, or Deribit. And I am trading the online stuff, and I am holding or hodling Bitcoin and Ethereum only in cold storage. So I just want you to know, and I'd love for you guys to say, if you say your Doge of the day is a particular stock, how long are you probably holding it, and at what point would you cut losses?
Yeah, that's a great question, John, and definitely an important distinction to make. For me, it all comes down to ultimately where we're at in the market cycle and whether or not the market is trending or if it's range bound. So if the market's trending, like we saw, just a couple months ago during the bull market, a lot of those Doges of the day I was making were strictly trades. I don't like to accumulate necessarily during a trending market. But now that we've cooled off a bit and we're range bound, this is a time where I will accumulate for the long term. So when I talk about my Doge of the day here in a little bit, this is one that I'm actually buying and planning to hold through this market cycle. So it all definitely depends on whether or not I think, the market is finding a bottom and is going to be trending again soon, or if we're in the middle of that trend right now and I can trade out of it for a quick profit. Right now, for me, I think this is an ideal time to accumulate, and not so much. I mean, there are some good trades to be made right now, but I think, because of the range bound state of the market, you'd have a lot tougher time finding that profit in a trade as opposed to, accumulating and having a bit of a longer time preference. I think that can really pay off during times like now.
Gotcha.
I would say when it comes to some of these alts, and yeah, maybe on my part, accumulating isn't necessarily the best word. I typically never hold a coin. I try not to ever hold a coin longer than 6 months. I try to get it in a sweet spot so that it kind of pumps within like 2 or 3 months usually. Sometimes if I'm a little bit early, that's okay. But I do kind of agree with what Monty said here about the ranging and trending markets. I don't mind taking a little bit of heat on something like Algo because I will be content to hold it throughout the rest of the year. I think that is one of those that will go very parabolic if Bitcoin does and continues to outperform stocks for the rest of the year, like you had kind of prophesized earlier, John. So that's kind of where I'm at. But if you'd like to know, our every single move and what we do in each one of these trades and where we take entries and exits, you can do that in our crypto room. We love to give those ideas and educate and go even more in depth than just in the Daily Crypto Byte. And so you can try that down below for just $1 in the first month.
That's right. I'll throw one out to you guys real quick too. I'm going to go with Matic today for my Doge of the day. Polygon, which the symbol is MATIC, Matic. Last week at this time, it was over $1.84. I think picking it up here at $1.42 or so. Again, with the same caveat, I'm probably going to look to cut losses if I have 2.5 or 3% loss in it, and take profits at the 10 or 15% level. So just to throw it out there, guys.
That's a brilliant pick, John. Brilliant, because I went with the same asset. Polygon, Matic was my Doge of the day today as well. And, I really like what I'm seeing from Matic technically. So if you take a look at the chart behind us, you'll see that this is the hourly chart for Matic. It was recently listed on Voyager. It got a lot of speculation during that whole ESG concern raised by Elon Musk. and this thing got really hot, and it's cooled off a little bit since. But what I'm seeing now, I think, is indicative that, you know, it may be ready for an interim reversal. So we have this confluence here between the TD sequential 9 and a TD combo by 13. So I marked those with the pink ovals. And, you know, I like the fact that these support lines are so close together. We have one at 1.43 and 1.40. I think when you have these two buy indicators in confluence just 12 hours apart, it's typically indicative that a reversal is imminent. I pointed out a very similar technical pattern yesterday on the Bitcoin hourly chart, and it panned out very nicely with some positive price action for Bitcoin. That's even continuing today. So I think Matic is looking good technically. And, you know, like Doc said, at this price point, you know, it does seem like a good opportunity for a trade. If you look at this chart as well, I have this upper bound here of 1.72. This would be a great range to consider taking profit. So although I'm going to accumulate, I haven't actually purchased any yet. I'm going to wait until after this episode, so I don't kind of front run you guys or anything. But I want to, you know, accumulate and possibly just take some profit, trim up at the 1.72 level, but still hold on to a portion of my stack, because I do believe that this is one that can perform very well for the duration of this market cycle. So yeah, that is my Doge of the day today, Matic.
Cool. Well, I think it's a brilliant pick. I hope you guys all have a great day today. And, you know, we've still got tomorrow for the regular week. And those of you who are true cryptopreneurs know that crypto knows no stop. It goes 24/7, just like the trading room. So we'll be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Yep. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you again tomorrow. Have a good one.
Wasn't there something, the revolution waits for no one?
There it is. The revolution waits for no one. Thank you, CJ. And thank you guys. Bye.